All right, so I just wanted to get on here real quick and talk about identity and why identity is such a huge problem in life. I know I talk a lot about the spiritual journey or consciousness work. These things are actually not different from regular life at all. The distinction between what you're doing right now and what you've been doing your whole life and the spiritual path or the path to enlightenment or consciousness work is completely imaginary. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about identity. So, and I'll use myself here as an example. When I was Christian, the reason I can't become conscious of what a Christian is because I'm too close to it. I am a Christian. I've identified with it. So in order to question what it is, I would actually be questioning my identity, which is a big no-no for the mind. Let me fix this camera. And now I'm going to explain this and you guys will start to understand why identity is such a problem and identity being such a huge trap for every human being, whether it's Christian, whether it's a man, a woman, a good man, a real nigga, a Christian, a Muslim, a pastor, a pilot, a straight edge, a believer, any kind of identity, anything that can be any sort of identity for a person. The reason these are so problematic is because you put them on. Identities are like costumes. And we don't even question the most obvious ones like, oh, I am a man. That's not something that you would question, but you could question it. And it's something I could question more. It's one of the identities I haven't, on the quote unquote enlightenment path, I have not actually questioned that particular one. And of course I haven't. Why? Because it's the most obvious one. It's like, what else would I be, right? That's what the mind says. Well, what else would you be? You have a dick. You have a beard. You're a dude. You're a man. Oh, well, spirituality says maybe that's not true. Well, what would you be? A woman? Well, that would just be another identity. So we're looking for something that doesn't fall under that category. But I just wanted to talk about that real quick. I was walking and I just became conscious of identities and how problematic they are. So sometimes when you sit down to meditate or you stare at a wall and do self-inquiry, asking yourself, who am I? And who thought that thought? And who thought that thought? And so on and so on. Check first that you see which costumes you're wearing. Because who's the person that sat down to meditate? Are you a meditator? Okay, well, that's a costume. You got to take that off. Are you a person seeking enlightenment? You're a seeker. Well, that's got to come off. Are you a Christian that wants to prove enlightenment wrong? Well, you got to take that costume off too. You can't wear any of this when you're sitting down to discover what's true, because you have to be open to what the truth actually is, and it might not be what you want. It might be something different. So you have to let go of expectations. And part of that is letting go of your identity, because with identities come expectations. If you're a man, you have your own inner expectations of what being a man will provide you. It'll provide me pussy or ass if you're a gay man. It'll provide you power. It'll provide you the ability to grow big muscles. Things like that. These things are tied to that identity. If you take the identity off, then all that other shit goes with it. External forces like other people also have expectations of your identity. And of course, other people are tied to your survival. So of course, it's going to help reinforce the identity, the costume that you wear.
Thank you.
Whether that's a spiritual seeker, a man, a woman, a cat, a dog, whatever. So like, what's a good example of an external expectation? Women in your community might expect you to be strong, a leader. They might expect you to step in when a kid is being bullied, or a cat stuck in a tree. They might expect you to be confident. They might expect you to have a firm handshake, to make eye contact, to lift weights, to not cry, depending on the culture you're in, or to cry if it's that time in the culture. And then substitute that identity for whatever. If you're a woman, list out the things that is expected of a woman or of a Christian or whatever. You see, how can you discover what's true when your psyche is preoccupied with its responsibilities, its obligations, with keeping itself as that identity? Even to pursue your goals, you tend to throw on costumes. You'll throw on the costume as a person who achieves their goals. So you're a success-oriented individual. That's a costume. That's an identity. And I'm not saying these are bad. It's not bad. Of course, you're going to have identities because you need them to like work within the framework of a world where everything else is also identity-centered. But I don't really have much else to say on it. It's just, this is it just became obvious to me just after a few steps on my walk this morning, that how can I even begin? How can I even sit down to meditate? How can you pray? How can you, even if you are a Christian and you don't trust that enlightenment's possible for you and that God is something different than what the Bible says, even if you believe what the Bible says word for word, how can you even go to Jesus with carrying all your identity? You need to give it all up. I mean, if you know you're going to die one day, then why not just start giving things back to Christ and say, because even a lot of spiritual teachers say that you can actually grow your, you can go pretty far in your spiritual path by putting your guru on a pedestal. Whoever you study under, you could literally put your guru on a pedestal, follow their teachings, and just because you are giving up your identity, that process, because you trust your teacher so much, then having a guru and having like a false god actually ends up working in your favor. But then at the end of the path, the very last lap that you have to do, you have to give up even the guru. So you can use a guru at first. So Jesus would be like a guru. He's a teacher, right? If he doesn't snap your fingers and instantly show you what the Father is, then he's still teaching you stuff. So you can use Jesus as a receiver of the costumes, your identity that you want to take off. So I guess what we're talking about here is just the spiritual path isn't about add more shit. I've talked about that. It's really about getting naked. And so I guess this video is, maybe I'll name it, get butt naked or something. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.